Imagine boarding a plane with your newborn in your arms, only to be interrogated like a criminal by the very people meant to serve and protect. You in the skies now picture someone pressing record just in time. What followed shook the airline industry, made global headlines, and exposed a truth many tried to ignore. But before you dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Because stories like this need to be told, and you can help amplify the voices that deserve. To be Tasha Raymond was no stranger to travel. A 29-year-old single mother and pediatric nurse from Atlanta. She had flown more times than she could count, especially during her work with out-of-state hospitals. This trip, however, was different. She was traveling with her 3-month-old baby boy, Malik, for the very first time. With her hair pulled into a neat bun, dressed in a cozy yet modest gray sweatsuit, and carrying a neatly packed diaper bag slung over her shoulder, she stepped onto the plane bound for Chicago with cautious optimism. It had taken all her savings to plan this trip to introduce Malik to her late fiancé's family, who hadn't yet met their grandson. She never expected the worst part of the journey would begin after she boarded. As she walked toward her seat row, 18, Sita, her soft lullaby to Malik, was interrupted by a sharp voice. "Ma'am, I need to speak with you for a moment," a stern-looking flight attendant named Kimberly said, blocking the aisle. "We've had a concern. You'll need to verify that this child is yours." Double quotes. The moment froze. Passengers nearby quieted. Some turned their heads, others whispered. Tasha blinked. "Excuse me?" she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Kimberly crossed her arms. "You don't look like him," she said plainly. Tasha's heart pounded. "He's biracial," she said, her voice trembling. "His father is white." That only seemed to enrage Kimberly more. "Can you show proof you're the mother?" she asked, and now the murmurs grew louder. Malik started to cry. Tasha tried to comfort him, fumbling for his birth certificate, which she kept in the diaper bag. But another voice cut through the tension. "This is insane." It was a young, white woman seated across the aisle, now holding her phone up, recording. "You're racially profiling her? This is disgusting." The recording began to circulate, fast. The video showed Tasha's stunned face, her crying baby, the unsympathetic flight attendant, and murmurs of support and outrage from nearby passengers. The situation had escalated beyond the flight crew's control, and they didn't realize just how far the consequences would reach. The plane landed in Chicago, but by then, the video had already been posted on TikTok, X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. Within hours, it hit 2 million views. Flight attendant demands proof from Black mother passenger catches entire incident. On video, news outlets were calling Tasha nonstop, but she wasn't looking for fame, she was traumatized. Still, with community leaders reaching out, civil rights lawyers offering pro bono representation, and media begging for interviews, she realized this was bigger than her. But there was a twist, and ex-employee of the airline came forward anonymously and said this wasn't the first time this airline had a problem with racial profiling. "We were told to always double-check situations that don't feel right, especially when race and kids were involved," the whistleblower wrote. More stories poured out. Black and brown parents stopped, questioned, separated from their children for policy reasons. Tasha's story had cracked open a vault of hidden discrimination. The airlines scrambled to respond. First, they suspended Kimberly pending investigation. Then, facing mounting public pressure and a planned boycott led by civil rights groups and celebrities, the airline CEO released a statement. But it wasn't enough. Tasha and her legal team filed a class action lawsuit, joined by several other families who had similar stories. Congressional members began citing her video in hearings on racial profiling in corporate policy. And then the bombshell. Leaked internal emails revealed that not only was the airline aware of racial complaints, but they actively downplayed them to avoid bad press. Share prices plummeted. Sponsors pulled out. Within 2 months, the CEO resigned. Kimberly, once a proud face of customer service, was now jobless and the subject of public backlash. The airline had no choice but to shut down and merge under a new name with an apology campaign broadcast nationwide. Tasha, who once just wanted to introduce her baby to his grandparents, had become a symbol of change. Her voice, once silenced, now echoed in courtrooms, media, and reform movements. And it all started with a baby, a brave woman, and one passenger who hit record.